Some moments split your life into before and after. 3 weeks ago, I had one of those moments, the kind you don't come back from the same. What started as a normal marriage slowly morphed into something unrecognizable. Cold silences, strange behavior, and late-night doubts that gnawed at my sanity. I tried to tell myself it was just stress, just life, just marriage. I was wrong. This is the story of how everything I thought I knew came crashing down, and how I'm figuring out what to do when the person you trust most becomes the person who hurts you the deepest. A little background. My wife, Amy, and I have been married for 6 years. Together for 8. We don't have kids yet, but we've been trying. Well, we were trying. I guess that part's dead in the water now. For most of our marriage, things were solid. We had the usual ups and downs, but I genuinely thought we were one of those couples who made it work. We laughed a lot, had the same taste in movies, took little weekend trips when we could afford them, and stayed up late talking about random crap. We weren't perfect, but who is? But then about 6 months ago, something changed. Amy got colder. It started small. She'd roll her eyes at things I said, pick fights over stuff like me leaving a coffee mug in the sink, and always seem annoyed when I wanted to spend time together. I chalked it up to stress. Her job got more demanding. She'd started working out a lot, which, okay, cool, I was proud of her. And she said she was just tired all the time. I tried to be supportive. I cooked dinner more, cleaned the house, even surprised her with a weekend getaway to a cabin we used to love going to. But she canceled last minute, saying she had too much going on. At first, I blamed myself. Was I not helping enough? Was I boring? Did she not find me attractive anymore? I started spiraling quietly, not wanting to make it worse by bringing up my feelings. But you know how sometimes you just feel something's off? Like a sixth sense? Yeah, that gut feeling started gnawing at me, and eventually I couldn't ignore it anymore. So, like I said, my gut was telling me something was wrong. But I kept brushing it off because, well, denial is comfortable, right? Still, little things started piling up. Amy started guarding her phone like it was the nuclear codes. She used to leave it on the couch, on the counter, face up, no problem. But now, it was always in her hand or face down, and she suddenly had a password on it. Which, okay, fine, people are allowed privacy, but she used to tell me her passcode. Now it's like Fort Knox. She started going out more too. Girls' nights popped up every other week. But here's the thing. She doesn't have that many close girlfriends. And when I asked, she'd get all defensive. Why do you always have to ask so many questions? Can't I have a life outside of you? Okay, fair point. I don't want to be the controlling husband. So I backed off. But the uneasy feeling? It stuck. Then came the gym. She joined this new gym across town. Not the one we used to go to together, but this exclusive place with fancy equipment and a juice bar and all that overpriced crap. She started going there 5 to 6 times a week, for hours. I asked if she wanted me to come with her once, thinking maybe we could bond over it like we used to, and she laughed in my face. Please, you wouldn't last 5 minutes in one of my classes. That stung, but again, I let it slide. Maybe she just needed space, right? Marriage isn't about doing everything together. I tried to be cool about it. But then she started coming home late. Sweaty, sure, but also wearing different clothes than she left in. One night, she even came home with her hair down, fresh lip gloss, smelling like some perfume I know she doesn't wear to the gym. I asked her about it. She said, "Oh my God, you're so paranoid. I changed because I got sweaty and gross. Do you want me coming home stinking like a pig?" I laughed it off at the time, but inside, my stomach twisted. Something wasn't adding up. Things escalated about 3 weeks ago. That's when I accidentally stumbled onto actual proof. I was doing laundry one Sunday while she was out at the gym again. We normally do our own loads, but she left a pile of her stuff in the hamper, and I figured, hey, I'll be nice and help out. Well, lucky or unlucky, me. That's when I found a receipt folded into the pocket of one of her hoodies. It wasn't from the gym. It was from a steakhouse across town. A nice one. Like, white tablecloths, servers in suits type of place. The receipt was for 2 people, $178 total. Wine, appetizers, dessert, the whole works. Now, here's the kicker. This dinner happened on a night when she told me she was hitting a late spin class and too tired to eat after. I felt like I got sucker punched. My hands were literally shaking as I held the receipt. I told myself there had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe she went with a friend. Maybe it was a work thing. So I waited until she got home, trying to play it cool, even though my heart was racing. When she walked in the door, all smiles, gym bag slung over her shoulder, I straight up asked, "Hey, weird question. Were you at Ruth's Steakhouse last Thursday night?" Her face changed immediately, not even subtle. Her eyes widened for a second, and then she got this fake casual tone and said, "Oh yeah, that was with Karen from work. She was going through a breakup and wanted to vent over dinner. But here's the problem. I know Karen. She's a vegan. Has been for years. Literally runs an Instagram page about it. Why the hell would she go to a steakhouse?" I brought that up, and Amy just waved it off. She ordered a salad, obviously. Jesus, do you have to interrogate me about everything? She stormed off to take a shower before I could say anything else. And there I was, sitting in the kitchen, holding the receipt, feeling like my entire marriage had just cracked down the middle. After that night, things between us got tense. I started noticing even more weird stuff. Her phone was basically glued to her. She started sleeping with it under her pillow, no joke. She even took it into the bathroom when she showered. Like, come on. Nobody's that addicted to Instagram. I tried to tell myself I was overreacting, that maybe she really was just stressed out or needing her own space. But deep down, I knew. I just knew. So, I did something I never thought I'd do. I snooped. Yeah, I know, not proud of it. But when you're backed into a corner, sometimes your morals get a little blurry. One night, about a week after the steakhouse receipt incident, Amy passed out early after a couple glasses of wine. Her phone was on the nightstand, and for once, she forgot to put it under her pillow. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it was going to wake her up. I tried her old passcode on a whim. Guess what? She'd changed it. But here's the kicker. She still used the same code for her iPad, which she never uses anymore. So while she was snoring next to me, I grabbed her iPad from the bottom of the closet and fired it up. The messages were still synced. And that's when my world basically shattered. There it was, a full-blown text thread with some guy named Travis. Flirty messages, inside jokes I didn't understand, heart emojis, photos, stuff she never sent me anymore. I scrolled and scrolled, my hands shaking. There were messages about when they could meet up next, complaints about how I was smothering her, and even a few digs at me personally. One text from her literally said, "Don't worry, babe. He's clueless. I'll just tell him I'm at spin class again," face with tears of joy. That one hit me like a freight train. I actually felt dizzy. I put the iPad down, walked to the bathroom, and threw up. No exaggeration. After I got sick, I just sat on the cold bathroom floor for a while, staring at the tiles, trying to process what I'd just seen. It felt like my brain was glitching. Part of me was screaming, "This can't be real. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding." But the texts were right there. Black and white. No way to spin it. And it wasn't just emotional cheating. There were messages about hookups, too. Stuff like, "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to do it again," winking face. "I love how you make me feel. Way better than being stuck at home." Stuck at home. That's me, apparently. Her husband. The dead weight she comes back to after screwing her side piece. I wanted to wake her up and confront her right then, but I didn't. Instead, I closed the iPad, wiped my face off, and got back into bed next to her. My heart was beating out of my chest, but somehow she didn't stir. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, wondering how the hell I got here. I thought about every little moment over the past year. The excuses, the mood swings, the eye rolls when I tried to talk to her, the nights she came home, late from the gym. It all made sense now, but in the worst possible way. And the craziest part? Even with all that evidence, I still had this tiny voice in the back of my head saying, maybe there's some explanation. Maybe you're wrong. Denial is a hell of a drug. The next morning, I barely slept. I just laid there, pretending to be asleep when she got up and went about her routine like nothing was wrong. She kissed me on the forehead before leaving for yoga. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I just kept quiet, my stomach in knots, watching her walk out the door with her Lululemon bag, probably not even going to yoga at all. I spent the whole day in a daze. Couldn't focus on work. Couldn't eat. I just kept replaying the texts in my head over and over. Finally, around 5 p.m., I decided I couldn't sit with it any longer. I had to confront her. When she got home that night, she was in a great mood. Chatty, bubbly, acting like everything was peachy. It made me sick. So I sat her down at the kitchen table. No yelling, no accusations right away. I just said, "Amy, I need to ask you something. And I need you to be honest." She gave me this exaggerated sigh and rolled her eyes. Classic Amy when she's cornered. What now? Did I forget to take out the trash or something? I stayed calm. Somehow. I said, "Who's Travis?" Her face changed immediately. The color drained from her cheeks for half a second, but then she slapped on this fake, irritated look and crossed her arms. Oh my God, are you seriously spying on me now? No denial, no confusion, just straight to victim mode. I stayed calm, calmer than I probably should have been. I said, "Don't turn this around on me. I saw the messages, Amy. I know what's going on." Her eyes narrowed, like she was calculating her next move. Then came the classic deflection. "Oh, so you're going through my stuff now? Real mature, Jason. Maybe if you spent half as much time working on yourself as you do snooping, I wouldn't have to talk to other people." That hit me right in the gut. She was actually blaming me for her cheating. I told her flat out, "I'm not doing this, Amy. I'm not going to sit here and pretend this is my fault. You've been lying to me. For months." She stood up, grabbed a glass of water, and started pacing like she was the victim. "It's not like I planned this, okay? Things just happened. Maybe if you weren't so boring all the time, I wouldn't have needed to look elsewhere." I sat there, stunned. Boring. That's what she thinks of me. I asked her point blank, "Are you in love with him?" She laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Don't be so dramatic. It's not about love. It's about me finally feeling like me again. Travis actually listens to me. He makes me feel alive." Alive. Right. Like sneaking around behind my back is some kind of self-care routine. At that point, I felt something inside me break. Not just anger. This cold, hollow kind of sadness. Like I wasn't even in the room anymore. After she said that thing about Travis making her feel alive, I just kind of shut down for a minute. I don't even remember exactly what I said next. I think it was something like, "So what now, Amy? You're just gonna keep screwing this guy while I sit here like an idiot?" She threw her hands up, all dramatic. "Oh my God, Jason. Stop acting like I'm the worst person in the world. People make mistakes." Mistakes. Like leaving the oven on, or forgetting to buy milk. Not carrying on a months-long affair while gaslighting your husband. I asked her, "Was the steakhouse dinner a mistake, too? Or was that part of your cardio program?" She rolled her eyes again. This woman must have trained with Olympic eye rollers at this point, and said, "Wow, you're really gonna bring up one dinner? That's pathetic." One dinner. Are you kidding me? That dinner was the tip of the iceberg. The text said it all. They'd been sneaking around for months, not just one night. But Amy kept minimizing everything, like I was overreacting to a casual oopsie. She actually tried to spin it like I should be grateful she hadn't left me yet. "Look, Jason, if I really wanted to leave you, I would have. But I didn't. That has to mean something." I just sat there, staring at her, wondering if she was even the same person I married. Because the woman standing in front of me, I didn't recognize her anymore. After that, the conversation spiraled into a full-blown argument. She started pacing around the kitchen, throwing out every excuse in the book. According to Amy, she was the victim here because I've been distant lately. We're just in different places right now. Marriage gets stale sometimes. It's normal. Normal? Since when is sneaking around with some guy named Travis considered normal? I told her, "Amy, you could have talked to me. We could have worked on this. Counseling, something. But you didn't even give me a chance." And she shot back with, "Oh please, like you would have actually listened? You're always so busy trying to fix things instead of just letting me be." At that point, I realized no matter what I said, she was going to twist it. There was no apology coming. No accountability. She was just mad she got caught. Then, out of nowhere, she said, "Well, maybe I should just move out if you're going to be like this." Like this? Like what? Upset that my wife has been cheating on me? But the way she said it, it was like she wanted me to tell her to leave. Like she was testing me to see if I'd kick her out so she could go play victim to her friends and say, "Oh no, my mean husband told me to leave." I didn't take the bait. Instead, I said, "Amy, if you want to go, go. But don't pretend this is about me being like this. You made your choice." She looked at me for a second, like she was sizing me up. Then she just grabbed her phone, mumbled something about needing space, and walked out the door. After she left, I just sat there in the kitchen, staring at the wall like some kind of zombie. I kept thinking, did that really just happen? Is my marriage actually over? It's weird how quiet the house gets when someone storms out like that. No footsteps, no clinking dishes, no random background noise. Just silence. And man, Silence is loud when your brain is running at 1,000 miles an hour. I checked my phone maybe 50 times, half expecting her to text me something. An apology, a confession, anything. Nothing came. About an hour later, I saw her location pop up on the Find My Friends app. We'd shared locations for years. She probably forgot it was still on. Guess where she was? At his place. Travis. Some condo downtown. That was the final nail in the coffin for me. She wasn't cooling off. She wasn't clearing her head. She went straight to him. I sat there for a long time, just staring at the little dot on my phone map, realizing I'd been replaced. Not temporarily. Permanently. That wasn't just her location. It was my marriage circling the drain. I don't know how long I sat there watching that stupid little location dot. Could have been 10 minutes. Could have been 2 hours. Time kind of stopped. At some point, I texted her. So you're at Travis's place now? Good to know where your space is. No reply. That silence hit harder than any argument we'd had. She saw the message. I watched the read receipt pop up, but she didn't bother to respond. And honestly, that hurt worse than all the lies combined. It was like she wasn't even pretending to care anymore. I started pacing the house, going over every memory like a highlight reel in my head. Our wedding. The time we binge-watched Breaking Bad together. The way she used to squeeze my hand in movie theaters. Gone. All of it felt fake now, like I'd been living in someone else's life. At around midnight, she finally texted back. I just need time to figure things out. Please don't blow up my phone. That was it. No sorry. No explanation. Just don't blow up my phone. Like I was some clingy ex she barely tolerated, not her husband of 6 years. It was in that moment that the reality set in for me. I wasn't her husband anymore, not really. Not in her mind. I was just the guy she shared a mortgage with until she could find a more convenient exit. The next morning, she still wasn't home. I woke up to an empty bed, checked the Find My Friends app again. Yep, still at Travis's place. At that point, something inside me finally snapped. Not in an angry, throwing things kind of way. More like a cold clarity. I realized, this is done. It wasn't just a bump in the road. It wasn't something couples therapy could fix. She had checked out of this marriage a long time ago and just didn't have the guts to tell me. So, I did something I never thought I'd do. I called a divorce lawyer. I didn't tell her right away. I spent the whole day going through logistics in my head. We'd have to deal with the house, the cars, the joint accounts. The lawyer walked me through the basics. Thankfully, no kids, so it's easier. Funny how lawyers call it easier when it still feels like you're cutting off a limb. That evening, she finally came home. Walked in like nothing had happened, holding a Starbucks cup like she'd just been out running errands. I asked her, "Did you sleep at his place?" She shrugged, actually shrugged, and said, "Yeah, I did. I needed to clear my head." Like it was the most normal thing in the world. No apology. No tears. Just cold detachment. And right then, I knew for sure. This wasn't my wife anymore. This was someone else entirely. That night, after she came home acting like she'd just had a spa weekend instead of a hookup fest, I finally told her. I called a lawyer. She froze for a second, just a second, but then went right back to her defensive mode. Wow. So that's it. You're just gonna give up? Real mature, Jason. Give up? I almost laughed. Like I was the one who checked out first. I told her, "Amy, you've been checked out of this marriage for months. All I'm doing is finally catching up." Her response? "Oh please, don't act like you're some saint. We both know you haven't exactly been a prize to live with." Right. Because I didn't read her mind about feeling alive. I guess that makes us even? She went on this whole rant about how people grow apart and monogamy is outdated anyway, and how I'm too sensitive and too traditional. Basically, she tried to gaslight me into thinking I was the problem for not being cool with her cheating. At one point, she even said, "Maybe this is actually better for both of us. I mean, you clearly need someone more boring and predictable, and I need someone who gets me." I swear, my heart just numbed out at that point. No more anger, no more shock. Just this dull ache in my chest like, okay, cool. There it is. The final cut. After that little monologue of hers, I didn't even argue anymore. What was the point? I just nodded and said, "Okay, let's be done then." She blinked, like she didn't expect me to actually agree. Maybe she thought I'd beg her to stay, cry, plead for another chance to fix things. But I was done. Completely done. The next couple of days were a blur of paperwork and logistics. I moved into the guest room. We started splitting up bills, talking about selling the house. She kept texting on the side, smiling at her phone while we talked about who keeps the couch. Probably Travis again. One night, while we were dividing stuff, she had the audacity to say, "I mean, we can still be friends, right?" Friends? Friends with the person who lied to me, cheated on me, laughed about how clueless I was behind my back. I just said, "No, Amy, we're not going to be friends." She rolled her eyes, again, like this was just some inconvenience I was overreacting to. That night, I deleted our shared location, blocked her on social media, and muted her on text. I told her I'd only respond to messages about the divorce paperwork. And you know what? The second I hit mute, I felt this weird sense of relief. Like I could finally breathe again after months of drowning. So that's where I'm at now. It's been about 3 weeks since all this went down. Papers are filed. We're waiting on court dates and signatures. The house is going on the market next month. I'm staying with a buddy until I figure out my next move. Some days I feel okay. Other days, I wake up and wonder if I'm going to throw up again like that first night. But overall, the worst part isn't losing her. It's realizing how long I let myself ignore the signs. Looking back, there were 1,000 red flags. But I kept telling myself, that's just marriage. That's just a rough patch. Nope, that was me getting played. Here's what I've learned, for anyone reading this. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking their betrayal is your fault. Self-respect is worth more than keeping a relationship that's already dead. Set boundaries early. And if someone crosses them repeatedly, they're showing you who they are. Believe them. I don't know what's next for me yet. Maybe therapy. Maybe a fresh start in a new city. I'm just taking it one step at a time. If anyone out there is going through something similar, just know, you're not crazy. You're not weak for being hurt. And you sure as hell don't have to stay with someone who treats you like a backup plan.